I'm not the same, Lena whispered, tears streaming down her face as Alexander gently held her chin. I can't do this anymore. What happened to the woman I met that night? He asked, his voice raw with emotion. He held her as if she might vanish, his eyes pleading for answers. That woman was an illusion, Alex, a fantasy you created in your mind. Lena pulled away, unable to bear the weight of her pain. I just needed the money. The dim light of the upscale London hotel corridor highlighted the gleam of a delicate silver hairpin in her blonde hair, as they remained frozen in that moment of inevitable truth. Look me in the eyes and tell me it was all a lie, he demanded, his voice an intense whisper. Lena met his gaze, her eyes reflecting an internal battle that tore at her soul. Before we dive into how Lena's life shattered and rebuilt, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss a single twist in this incredible journey. And if you're already hooked, smash that like button now. The weight of a mother's love. 6 months earlier, in a cramped apartment in the East End of London, Lena Maxwell, 32, was a whirlwind of motion. She bustled between the tiny kitchen, preparing breakfast, and the sewing machine, meticulously finishing the hem of a designer gown. Lily, it's late, my love, she called towards the small room she shared with her 8-year-old daughter. Coming, mummy, a sleepy voice replied. Lena caught sight of the dark circles under her eyes in the kitchen window. Another sleepless night, finishing orders for her high-end clients in Kensington. With a sigh, she left the dress on a chair and poured a glass of milk. Lily appeared, dressed in her school uniform, her princess backpack slung over her shoulder. Her pale face contrasted with her large hazel eyes. Did you take your medicine? Lena asked, stroking her daughter's brown hair. Yes, mummy, Lily responded. Are you coming to my school play today? Lena felt a knot tighten in her throat. I'll try, sweetie. You know Mrs. Albright needs her dress tonight, and I still have to deliver the uniforms to the restaurant. The disappointment in Lily's eyes was a dagger to Lena's heart. It's okay, mummy. I understand. After dropping Lily at school, Lena rushed to her job at a small tailoring workshop. The morning passed in a blur of fabric, thread, and the constant hum of sewing machines. Lena, you have a call, the receptionist announced around noon. It was Lily's school. Her daughter had collapsed during play rehearsal. 3 hours later, Lena clutched her trembling hands in the waiting room of the public hospital as Dr. Harrison gravely explained the situation. Lily's heart condition has worsened, Ms. Maxwell. She needs specialized surgery in the next 2 months. How much will it cost? Lena asked, her voice barely a whisper. The procedure isn't covered by public health care. We're talking about approximately £80,000. Lena's world crumbled. That amount was more than she could earn in years. That night, after tucking Lily into bed, Lena pulled out her old design sketchbook. She'd abandoned her dream of becoming a designer when she got pregnant at 24 and Lily's father disappeared. Now, those drawings were just a painful reminder of what could have been. Her phone vibrated with a message from Chloe, her best friend since secondary school. How's the little one? Need anything? An hour later, Chloe arrived with takeout and a bottle of cheap wine. £80,000, Lena murmured, letting the tears flow freely. Where am I going to get that much money, Chloe? I know someone who might be able to help, Chloe said after a long silence. Eleanor Finch. She runs an escort service for high society events. Escorts? Are you suggesting I become a prostitute? Lena stood up, indignant. No, nothing like that, Chloe quickly clarified. They're just dates for events. Rich men who need elegant company for galas, business dinners. They pay very well. I can't do that. I'm just giving you options. Lily needs you. 2 days later, with the image of her daughter connected to heart monitors seared into her mind, Lena dialed the number Chloe had given her. Miss Finch, this is Lena Maxwell. My friend Chloe gave me your number. I need money for my daughter's operation. A world apart. Eleanor Finch's office gleamed with understated luxury in an elegant building in Mayfair. Lena, dressed in her best blouse and formal trousers, felt utterly out of place. "You have potential," Eleanor said, observing her with a critical eye. A woman in her mid-40s, impeccably dressed and made up. "With the right styling, you'd fit right in among the elite." "I don't want to fit in. I just need the money for my daughter's operation," Lena replied firmly. Eleanor smiled knowingly as she slid a tablet towards her. "I have an important client, Alexander Thorne, a tech mogul, 38. He needs company for a charity gala this Friday." Lena looked at the photo of an attractive man with sharp features and piercing eyes. His serious face conveyed authority and coldness. "What exactly would I have to do?" "Be his companion. Smile, converse, dance. Nothing more," Eleanor clarified. "He'd pay £10,000 for one night." Lena held her breath. With 4 such events, she'd have a large portion of the money for Lily's surgery. "It's just one night," Eleanor added, noticing her hesitation. "One night to change your daughter's life. Do you think Lena will go through with it? What would you do in her shoes? Let me know in the comments below." 3 days later, in a skyscraper penthouse in Canary Wharf, Alexander Thorne reviewed documents while his assistant, Mark Olson, updated him on the gala preparations. "The merger with Global Tech is practically closed," Mark reported. Mr. Davies confirmed his attendance at the gala. "It will be the perfect time to announce the deal." Alexander nodded without looking up from his tablet. "And the companion?" Eleanor Finch confirmed. "Her name is Lena Maxwell. No prior experience. As long as she knows how to behave, that's enough," Alexander replied coldly. "I don't need distractions right now." Teresa also called. Again, Alexander sighed. His younger sister had been insisting for weeks that they have dinner together, but he didn't have time for family drama. Not when he was about to close the most important deal of his career. "Tell her I'll call her after the gala." The night of the event, Lena waited nervously in the lobby of the hotel where the gala was being held. The dress borrowed from Eleanor, an elegant midnight blue design, fit her like a glove. A stylist had swept her hair into a sophisticated bun. A man in a suit approached. "Ms. Maxwell, I'm Mark Olson, Mr. Thorne's assistant. If you'll come with me." He led her to a private lounge where Alexander Thorne, imposing in his black tuxedo, was on the phone. Seeing her, he abruptly ended the call. "Ms. Maxwell," he greeted with a nod, studying her with an analytical gaze. "Mr. Thorne," she replied, holding his gaze with dignity. "We have 10 minutes before we enter. Let's go over the basics," he said in a businesslike tone. "It's a charity gala for children with heart conditions. My main partners and investors will be present." The irony of the situation was not lost on Lena. A gala to raise funds for children with the same condition as Lily. "Any specific instructions?" she asked, maintaining her composure. Alexander looked at her more closely, as if only just noticing she was a real person, not an accessory. "Just be yourself, or rather, be who Eleanor told you to be tonight." His words stung more than she expected. "I know perfectly well how to behave, Mr. Thorne. I don't need you to remind me of my position." A flash of surprise crossed Alexander's face. He clearly didn't expect her to talk back. The gala turned out to be more intimidating than Lena had imagined. Hundreds of people dressed in clothes that cost more than her annual rent, talking about yachts and summer homes, while sipping champagne that could pay for a month of Lily's treatment. To her surprise, Alexander didn't abandon her among strangers. He introduced her as a friend and kept her by his side during conversations with his partners. Lena watched as he transformed into the center of attention, dominating every interaction with a mix of calculated charisma and natural authority. "How do you two know each other?" asked Robert Sterling, a man in his 40s with a fake smile that didn't hide his malicious curiosity. "We met through mutual friends," Alexander replied smoothly. "Lena has an exceptional eye for design." She looked at him, surprised. They hadn't agreed on any story. "Design?" Robert inquired. "I'm studying fashion design," Lena improvised, grateful for the opportunity to talk about something she actually knew. "Though currently, I work more in tailoring and alterations." The night progressed between champagne flutes and superficial conversations. During dinner, Lena noticed Alexander barely touched his food, concentrating on discreetly observing the other diners. "Aren't you hungry?" she asked softly. "You don't come to these events to eat," he replied. "You come to see and be seen." When the orchestra began to play, Alexander surprised her by offering his hand. "Shall we dance?" On the dance floor, his fluid movements revealed years of dance lessons. Alexander's hand on her waist was firm but respectful. "You dance very well for a tailor," he commented. "And you smile very little for someone so rich," she retorted. For the first time that night, Alexander genuinely smiled. "Touché, Ms. Maxwell." As they spun to the music, Lena felt the curious stares of the other guests. The powerful and solitary Alexander Thorne dancing attentively with a stranger. An unexpected proposition. At the end of the night, in the privacy of the limousine, Lena expected the agreed-upon transaction. Instead, Alexander surprised her with an unexpected proposal. "I need a personal stylist, someone with good taste who isn't afraid to tell me the truth. The salary would be 3 times what I'd pay you for tonight." Lena stared at him, stunned. "Are you offering me a job? I saw how you observed the guests' outfits. Your comments about colors and styles were precise. You have talent. How do you know I'm not lying about my fashion knowledge?" Alexander shrugged. "I don't know. It's a risk I'm willing to take." When the limousine stopped in front of her building, Lena hesitated before getting out. "Why me? You could hire any professional stylist." Alexander looked her directly in the eyes. "Because tonight, for the first time in a long time, someone treated me like a person, not a bank or a business opportunity." Lena felt a strange flutter in her stomach as she watched the limousine pull away. She had gone looking for money for one night, but something inside her told her that nothing would be the same after meeting Alexander Thorne. What do you think will happen next? Will Lena accept the job? Share your predictions in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing stories. 3 days later, Lena entered the imposing corporate building of Thorne Industries. Her pencil skirt and second-hand blouse were the most formal clothes she owned. "Good morning. I'm here to see Mr. Thorne," she said at reception, feeling like everyone could tell she didn't belong. Mark Olson appeared to escort her. "Mr. Thorne is waiting for you. You'll sign your contract this morning." The contract specified a salary that tripled her income as a tailor. Lena couldn't stop her hands from trembling as she signed it. "Your first task," Alexander said, entering the boardroom, "will be to update my wardrobe. Mark will give you access to my schedule and residences." "Residences? Plural?" Lena raised an eyebrow. The apartment in Canary Wharf, the country estate in the Cotswolds, and the penthouse in Knightsbridge, Mark replied as if it were the most normal thing in the world. That afternoon, Lena entered Alexander's walk-in closet in his penthouse. It was larger than her entire apartment. Identical suits in black, gray, and navy lined up with military precision. "Too predictable," she murmured as she examined the designer labels. Alexander watched her from the doorway. "Any verdict?" "You need color and personality," Lena replied frankly. "You dress like a walking bank." Instead of being offended, Alexander let out a surprising laugh. "You're the first person in years to tell me exactly what you think." A glimmer of hope. Over the next few weeks, Lena divided her time between her new job and caring for Lily. Alexander had agreed to a flexible schedule that allowed her to attend to her daughter's medical needs. One afternoon, while organizing Alexander's new wardrobe, she found a hidden photograph in a drawer. A smiling family. A man, a woman, and 2 small children. "My parents," Alexander said from the doorway, startling her. "They died in an accident when I was 16. Teresa was 10. "I'm so sorry," Lena responded, moved by the vulnerability in his voice. "I had to grow up fast, leave university, find work, and take care of my sister." His gaze was lost in memories. "I promised we'd never lack anything." "I understand better than you think," Lena confessed. "I'd do anything for Lily." Something changed between them after that conversation. Alexander began to ask about Lily. He even suggested taking her to a specialist he knew. "I can't accept it," Lena protested. "It's not charity," he insisted. "Consider it an advance on your salary." A month after starting to work for Alexander, Lena accompanied him to his business events. Her presence softened the image of the ruthless businessman that the media had cultivated. "I suspect you're using me as a public relations strategy," she commented one night, as they returned from a dinner with investors. "And I suspect you're using this job to gain contacts in the fashion world," he retorted with a half-smile. "Let's say we're using each other." The afternoon Alexander met Lily was a turning point. He had insisted on visiting the child after her appointment with the cardiologist he had recommended. "Are you Mummy's boss?" Lily asked from her bed, surrounded by drawings and dolls. "Something like that," Alexander replied, surprisingly nervous around the child. "And are you very rich?" "Lily," Lena exclaimed, mortified. Alexander smiled. "Yes, I have money. But your mummy has taught me there are more important things. Like your heart," Lily said with the wisdom that comes from long hospital stays. "Mine's poorly, but the doctor said they're going to fix my little engine." That day, something changed in Alexander. As Lily showed him her drawings, Lena watched as the cold businessman transformed into an attentive and genuine man. Leaving the apartment, Alexander was unusually silent. "Thank you for coming," Lena said. "It means a lot to her to meet new people. She doesn't get out much because of her condition." "She's an extraordinary child," he responded, his voice husky, "like her mother." The next morning Lena received a call from the hospital. The specialist had moved Lily's surgery forward, and all expenses were covered by the hospital's foundation. "Was it you?" She confronted Alexander in his office, torn between gratitude and indignation. "Dr. Peterson is an old friend," he responded evasively. "I simply mentioned the case to him." Edward Thompson entered without knocking, interrupting the conversation. His eyes assessed the situation with evident displeasure. "Alexander, we need to talk about the presentation for the Chinese investors," he said, completely ignoring Lena. "I'm busy, Edward. Your stylist can wait," he insisted with barely disguised disdain. "Business can't." After Edward left, Lena noticed the tension in Alexander. "Is he always that charming?" "Edward and I started together," Alexander explained. "He's been my partner for 15 years. He doesn't easily trust new people, especially if they're women who don't come from his social circle," she completed. That night, as Lena sewed a new dress for one of her old clients, Chloe visited her with a bottle of wine. "So, how's it going with the Millionaire?" she asked, pouring herself a glass. "It's just work, Chloe," Lena replied, though a slight blush betrayed her. "Oh, please. I've known you since you were 15. I've never seen you like this over a man." "It's not what you think, Alex. It's complicated. He has this wall around him. But you've found the door, haven't you?" Chloe smiled. In the following weeks, Alexander subtly changed. He started spending time with Teresa again. He even canceled an important meeting to attend his sister's birthday. "You're softening," Lena teased as she helped him choose a gift. "Life can't just be about work," he responded, repeating words she herself had told him weeks ago. Lily's surgery was scheduled for the end of the month. Meanwhile, Alexander surprised Lena by introducing her to several contacts in the fashion industry. "I don't need you to do me favors," she protested after a meeting with a renowned designer. "They're not favors, it's an investment," he replied. "You have talent, Lena. You shouldn't waste it." Edward observed these changes with growing alarm. One afternoon, as Alexander left early to accompany Lena to Lily's medical appointment, he confronted his partner. "What the hell is happening to you?" he exploded. "We're about to close the biggest deal in our history, and you're playing happy families with your employee." "Watch what you say, Edward," Alexander warned, his voice icy. "Everyone's talking. Where did she really come from? Do you know anything about her apart from her sick daughter and her innocent face?" Alexander grabbed him by the lapel. "I'm warning you, Don't meddle in my personal life. But the seed of doubt was planted. That night, Edward made several calls. If that woman had a secret, he would find it. Do you want to come with us to the coast this weekend? Alexander's question took Lena by surprise as they reviewed his schedule for the next week. The coast? She repeated, confused. I have a house in Cornwall. Lily could rest there before the surgery. Alexander explained with a naturalness that contrasted with the importance of what he was proposing. The doctors said the sea air would do her good. Lena hesitated. The lines between employer and employee had blurred so much in recent months that she no longer knew where they stood. I don't think it's appropriate, she finally replied. What's not appropriate exactly? Alexander asked, his eyes fixed on hers. That I care about Lily? Or that I care about you? The silence between them crackled with electricity. Lena felt her heart beating as irregularly as her daughter's. Both, she finally whispered. Alexander took a step closer. I don't care about what's appropriate, Lena. I care about you, and I care about Lily. What do you think will happen on their trip to Cornwall? Will their feelings deepen? Or will Edward's meddling ruin everything? Share your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. A glimpse of forever. 3 days later, Alexander's car pulled up to a spectacular house on the coast. Lily ran out towards the private beach, her energy renewed at the sight of the ocean. Mummy, look, it's like in the movies, she shouted excitedly. Don't run, my love, Lena warned, though she smiled at seeing her daughter happy. The house was a dream of glass and wood with panoramic sea views. Alexander watched their reactions with a smile he rarely showed in the city. I'll show you to your rooms, he said, taking their suitcases as if it were the most normal thing in the world. While Lily explored the house with the housekeeper Alexander had hired to help, Lena stepped out onto the terrace. The sunset painted the sky orange and pink. It's beautiful, she said, feeling Alexander approach. It's the first time in years I've come here for something other than work, he confessed, leaning on the railing beside her. I used to come with my parents when I was a child. Why did you bring us here, Alexander? What is all this really? He looked at her intensely. I wanted to see you smile. Both of you. That night, after Lily had fallen asleep, excited from her day at the beach, Lena found Alexander on the terrace with 2 glasses of wine. Your daughter is amazing, he commented, offering her a glass. She has that way of seeing life, unfiltered, unmasked. Children are like that, especially those who've been through as much as she has, Lena responded, sitting beside him. When your heart is fragile, you learn to value every beat. Alexander looked at her with a mix of admiration and something deeper he didn't dare name. How do you do it? Raise a child alone with all these problems? I have no alternative. She's my daughter, she replied simply. And you? How did you manage being left alone with Teresa? With constant fear, he admitted. Fear of failing, of us being separated, of not having enough money. His voice faded. I guess that fear never really left. It turned into an obsession with control, with accumulating more and more. And you forgot to live in the process, she gently completed. Until you appeared, he responded, his eyes meeting hers in the dim light. The second day they built sandcastles with Lily, ate at local restaurants, and bought crafts at the market. To anyone who saw them, they looked like a normal family on vacation, not a powerful businessman, his stylist, and her daughter. Mr. Alexander is your boyfriend, Mummy? Lily asked that night as Lena tucked her in. No, sweetie, he's my boss. But he likes you, the child affirmed with conviction. He looks at you like the prince looks at the princess in my stories. You're a romantic, Lena smiled, kissing her forehead. Now go to sleep. I like how you smile when you're with him, Lily murmured drowsily. I haven't seen you smile like that in a long time, Mummy. Those words resonated with Lena as she stepped out into the garden. The sea breeze carried the scent of tropical flowers and the sound of waves breaking against the beach. Is she asleep? Alexander asked, appearing with 2 cups of tea. Yes, she's exhausted, but happy. They sat in silence, enjoying the peace that seemed impossible in their everyday lives. Lena, Alexander began after a long silence. I need to tell you something. His serious tone alarmed her. What's wrong? These months working together, you've changed me. You've made me see how empty my life was. Alexander, let me finish, he pleaded, taking her hand. I know we started on the wrong foot. I know there was a transaction involved. But what I feel now is real. The moonlight illuminated his face, showing a vulnerability she had never seen in him. I'm scared, Lena confessed. Scared this is temporary. We're from different worlds, Alexander. Worlds come together all the time, he replied, moving closer. Like the sky and the sea on the horizon. When their lips met under the silvery moonlight, Lena felt something within her transform. A soft, tentative kiss that deepened with contained longing. I don't want to be just another on your list, she whispered when they parted. You never have been, he responded, his voice hoarse. From that first night at the gala, I knew you were different. On their last day at the coast, they received an unexpected visit. Teresa, Alexander's sister, appeared at the door, surprised to see Lena and Lily. Am I interrupting something? She asked with obvious suspicion. Not at all, Alexander responded, hugging her. Why didn't you tell me you were coming? I wanted to surprise you. Clearly, I'm the one who's surprised. The initial tension dissipated when Lily, with her usual naturalness, invited Teresa to see her seashell collection. By sunset, the young woman had won over the little girl's heart. You're not what I expected, Teresa confessed to Lena as they watched Alexander and Lily play by the sea. My brother changes when he's with you. He's more like the Alexander the first remember from when we were children. He cares about you a lot, Lena responded. He talks about you all the time. I've been trying to get him to take a vacation for years, Teresa smiled. And you manage it in a few months. That night, while Lily slept and Teresa retired to her room, Alexander and Lena walked along the beach under the stars. I want this to work, he said suddenly. Us, all three of us. Are you serious? Lena stopped, her heart pounding. I've never been more serious, Alexander replied, cupping her face in his hands. I want you in my life, Lena. You and Lily. Their second kiss was a silent promise under the starry blanket of the British sky. Neither of them noticed the discreet flash of a camera from a distance. Will their newfound happiness last? What do you think that camera flash means? Leave your theories in the comments. And make sure to hit that like button if you're enjoying the story, The Shadow of the Past. During the drive back to the city, Lena allowed herself to dream of a future with Alexander. A future where Lily was healthy, where her talent as a designer flourished, where the love growing in her chest could develop without the shadow of the past. She didn't know that past had already sent its tentacles to destroy her fragile happiness. The return to reality was like a head-on collision. Barely 2 days after their return from Cornwall, Lena's world crumbled with a simple message from Chloe. You need to see this now. The link led to a gossip portal. Lena's blood ran cold when she saw the headline, The Luxury Escort Who Captured London's Most Eligible Bachelor. Beneath the headline, a photo of her entering Eleanor Finch's office, followed by images of her and Alexander on the beach, kissing under the moonlight. No, 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 she whispered, feeling nauseous as she read the article. Sources close to the financier confirmed that Lena Maxwell, a 32-year-old single mother, was hired through an exclusive escort service to attend a charity gala with Alexander Thorne. What began as a paid service has evolved into an apparent romance that many question. Her phone rang. It was Alexander. Don't answer, Chloe advised, who had arrived at Lena's apartment in record time. You need to think about what you're going to do. I have to explain, Lena insisted, tears in her eyes. This isn't what it looks like. And what is it, then? Chloe asked harshly. Isn't it true you contacted Eleanor? That you agreed to be his companion for money? The words hit Lena like slaps. It was true. It had all started that way. Meanwhile, in the offices of Thorne Industries, Alexander stared at the same photos on his computer screen, his face stony, hiding the storm within. Edward entered without knocking, feigning concern. Alexander, old friend, I just heard. I'm so sorry. Who leaked this? Alexander demanded, not taking his eyes off the screen. Reporters say it was an anonymous source, Edward replied, carefully observing his partner's reaction. The question is, did you know how you really met Lena? Alexander remained silent, remembering the night of the gala. The pieces fit now. Lena's inexperience, her need for money, Eleanor Finch's mediation. I need to talk to her, he finally said, standing up. Alexander, think it through, Edward warned. This woman lied to you from the beginning. Who knows what else she's hidden? Her daughter's illness? Even her career as a designer. The seeds of doubt, planted weeks ago, blossomed in Alexander's heart. The old wounds of past betrayal reopened. Lena arrived at Alexander's office unannounced. Employees looked at her with a mix of curiosity and pity. The rumors had already spread like wildfire. I need to talk to you, she said upon entering, ignoring Mark's surprised look. Alexander looked at her from his desk. His eyes, usually warm when he saw her, were now two cold wells. Please, she insisted. Mark, leave us, Alexander ordered. Once alone, the silence hung heavy between them. It's true, Lena began, determined to face the truth. I met Eleanor out of desperation. Lily needed surgery, and I didn't have the money. So, it was all a lie? Alexander's voice was flat, controlled. The job Cornwall us? No. Lena took a step towards him. Yes, it started as an arrangement. But everything changed, Alexander. What I feel for you is real. How can I believe you? He asked. How do I know this isn't another strategy to get more? The words cut through her like knives. Do you really think I faked all of this? That I used my own daughter? Alexander stood up and walked to the window, turning his back on her. I've seen people do worse things for money, Lena. I'm not the same, she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks, as Alexander gently held her face. I can't do this anymore. What happened to the woman I met that night? He asked, his voice broken with emotion. He held her as if she might vanish at any moment, his eyes pleading for answers. That woman was an illusion, Alexander. A fantasy you created in your mind. Lena turned away, unable to bear the weight of her pain. I just needed the money. The dim light of the corridor highlighted the gleam of the elegant hairpin in her blonde hair, as they remained frozen in that moment of inevitable truth. Look me in the eyes and tell me it was all a lie, he demanded, his voice an intense whisper. Lena raised her gaze, her eyes filled with tears. I can't say what I feel for you is a lie, but I also can't stay knowing you'll never trust me. She pulled away from him, picked up her bag, and walked towards the door. Lily's surgery is next week, she said without turning around. After that, you won't see me again. Alexander was left alone in his office, the solitude heavier than ever. He picked up his phone and called Teresa. You were right, he said as soon as she answered. I should never have let my guard down. 2 days later, Lena received the official notification. Her contract with Thorne Industries had been terminated. The severance package was generous, enough to cover any remaining expenses for Lily's surgery and sustain them for a few months. The operation was a success. The doctors assured Lily would make a full recovery, but Lena could barely focus on the good news. Her heart felt as broken as if it, too, had been under the surgeon's knife. Why are you sad, Mummy? Lily asked one afternoon while recovering at home. The doctor said my heart is fixed. I'm just tired, my love, Lena replied, forcing a smile. Is it because Mr. Alexander doesn't visit us anymore? Lena took a deep breath. Things between adults are complicated sometimes. But he likes you, Lily insisted. And you like him. Why is it complicated? Because sometimes affection isn't enough, she replied, stroking her hair. Sometimes you also need trust. That night, while Lily slept, Lena pulled out her old design sketchbook. For weeks, She had been sketching new designs inspired by her experience, dresses that told stories of transformation, of second chances. "Brave heart," she murmured, writing the name on the first page. If Alexander had taught her anything, it was not to give up on her dreams. The next day, using part of her severance, she rented a small space in a trendy London borough. It would be her workshop and small boutique. A new beginning. Meanwhile, Alexander immersed himself in work like never before. The merger with Global Tech had materialized. The company's shares were soaring, but he felt emptier than ever. "You should call her," Teresa said one night, as they had dinner at her brother's penthouse. "It's too late," he replied dryly. "Don't be so proud, Alexander. You miss her. She lied to me. And you've never made mistakes?" Teresa retorted. "Besides, did she really lie to you? She told you the truth when it mattered." Alexander fell silent. Deep down, he knew Teresa was right. He had reacted out of fear, from old wounds he had never truly healed. "Edward was the one who leaked the story," Teresa added, dropping the bombshell. "What?" Alexander looked at her in disbelief. "Mark found out. He found emails between Edward and the journalist. He wanted to drive her away from you because he feared you would change, that the company would no longer be your priority." Rage replaced the pain in Alexander's heart. He had allowed his partner, who was supposed to be his friend, to destroy the only genuine thing he'd had in years. He picked up his phone, ready to call Lena, but stopped. What would he say? How could he ask her to come back after hurting her so much? He needed to do more than just make a call. He needed to show her he had changed, that he trusted her, and he knew exactly how to do it. What do you think Alexander will do to win Lena back? Will she ever trust him again? And what about Edward? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for the thrilling conclusion. Brave hearts. A new beginning. A year can change everything. Lena knew that better than anyone as she hung the last dress on the rack of her small boutique workshop in London. Brave heart. It had grown from a dream scribbled in an old notebook to a modest but promising reality. "Mummy, I finished my homework," Lily announced, sitting at a small table in the corner of the shop. Her surgery scar was barely noticeable now, and her energy was that of any healthy 9-year-old. "Very good, my love. Will you help me finish these details?" Lena handed her some ribbons that needed to be cut into precise pieces, a task Lily loved. The bell above the door chimed. Eleanor Finch entered, elegant as always. "Lena, darling, every time I come, I find something new that surprises me," she said, observing the displayed dresses. Their relationship had changed drastically. After the scandal, Eleanor had contacted her, not to reproach her, but to offer an opportunity. Thanks to her investment, Lena had been able to properly equip the workshop. "The runway collection is almost ready," Lena replied, showing her the final sketches. "They're perfect," Eleanor approved. "The charity fashion show will be the event of the year. All the important designers will be there." Lena nodded, trying to control her nerves. It was her big break, her official debut in the British fashion world. "By the way," Eleanor added with feigned casualness, "did you hear about Alexander Thorne?" Lena's heart skipped a beat. She had spent months trying not to look for information about him, though sometimes it was impossible to avoid. His face regularly appeared in business magazines and social events. "I don't follow his news," she lied, concentrating on folding some fabrics. "He created a foundation for children with heart problems," Eleanor continued. "They say it was because of a girl he met, who changed his life." Lena remained silent, but her eyes welled up. Lily looked at her from her table, understanding more than her mother realized. That same afternoon, in the offices of Thorne Industries, Alexander reviewed the final details of the charity gala for his newly created Brave Hearts Foundation. "Everything's confirmed," Mark reported. "The Claridge Hotel, the orchestra, the VIP guests. And the special surprise I asked for." Mark smiled. "Also confirmed. Emerging designer Lena Maxwell will present her collection during the event. Although," he added cautiously, "she doesn't know you're organizing all this." Perfect, Alexander nodded. Eleanor has done a great job keeping it a secret. After discovering Edward's betrayal, Alexander had made radical changes. His former partner had been removed from the company after a legal agreement that prevented him from speaking about Lena or the true nature of their relationship. But most importantly, Alexander had changed internally. The foundation wasn't just a gesture to impress Lena. It was a genuine commitment inspired by Lily and by all the families facing similar situations. Teresa called. Mark commented. Says her speech for the gala is ready. Alexander smiled. His sister had become the foundation's executive director, pouring her heart into every initiative. The night of the fashion show, Lena felt like she was going to faint from nerves as she oversaw the final details backstage. Relax, Eleanor told her. Your designs are extraordinary. Tonight will change your life. Who's organizing this event? Lena asked for the umpteenth time. You told me it was a foundation but never its name. You'll know in due time, Eleanor replied enigmatically. Now focus on shining. The hotel ballroom was packed with London's social and business elite. Lena watched from the side of the stage, trying to calm her breathing. Mummy, you look beautiful, Lily said beside her. Elegant in a dress Lena had designed especially for her. Thank you, my love. Are you ready to sit with Eleanor? Yes, but... Lily hesitated, as if hiding something. What is it? Nothing. Just, I think tonight is going to be magical, she replied with a mysterious smile. The lights dimmed, and a voice announced the start of the event. To Lena's surprise, it was Teresa Thorne who took the stage. Good evening, everyone. As director of the Brave Hearts Foundation, it is an honor to welcome you. Lena froze. Alexander's foundation. She had been working all this time for an event organized by him without knowing it. I can't do this, she murmured, taking a step back. Of course you can, a voice said behind her. Lena turned to find herself face to face with Alexander. A year hadn't changed what she felt when she saw him. Her heart pounded so hard she thought the seams of her dress would burst. What are you doing here? She asked in a tense whisper. It's my foundation, he replied calmly. I created it thinking of Lily, of you. You had no right to trick me like this, she retorted, indignation mixing with a deeper emotion she didn't want to name. I needed you to come, he explained, to see what I've become because of you. On stage, Teresa continued, tonight is special because we celebrate two things, the official launch of our foundation and the debut of an extraordinary designer whose personal story inspired our mission. Applause filled the ballroom as Lena looked at Alexander in disbelief. Your talent deserves to be recognized, he said, and I deserved the opportunity to show you I've changed. And Edward? She asked, remembering the man who had destroyed their relationship. Out of my life and out of my company. Teresa discovered he leaked the story to the press. Lena was processing this information when Teresa announced, and now, let's welcome the visionary behind Braveheart, Lena Maxwell. The lights illuminated her. There was no escape. With one last look at Alexander, Lena walked onto the stage, greeted by enthusiastic applause. For the next 20 minutes, her designs paraded down the runway. Each piece told a story of transformation, of pain turned into beauty. The audience responded with awe and admiration, and when the last model left the runway, Teresa invited Lena back to the stage for the final acknowledgments. Her heart hammering, she walked forward amidst applause. What she didn't expect was to see Alexander also come up, with a bouquet of wildflowers, Lena's favorites. Ladies and gentlemen, Alexander spoke into the microphone, I want to share something personal with you. The room fell silent with anticipation. A year ago, I met a woman who changed my life. Many of you read false stories about how we met, stories designed to damage her reputation and mine. Lena held her breath as Alexander continued. The truth is, Lena Maxwell was never my paid companion. She was my savior. The woman who taught me there is a purpose beyond material success, beyond power and control. Murmurs rippled through the audience as Alexander approached her. This foundation is named after her fashion line for a reason. because both were born from the same principle, to transform pain into hope, fear into bravery. Alexander took her free hand, as the other trembled holding the bouquet. Edward Thompson, my former partner, was dismissed for his unethical actions, Alexander revealed, causing gasps in the audience. And today, I have the honor of announcing the creation of the Lena Maxwell Scholarship for emerging designers from underprivileged backgrounds. Tears streamed freely down Lena's cheeks as Alexander knelt before her, to the stunned gaze of everyone present. Lena, you transformed me from a man who only valued wealth to someone who understands the true riches of life. Love, family, and second chances, he declared, pulling a small box from his pocket. Would you give me the honor of sharing those riches with me forever? The entire ballroom held its breath. For a moment, only the two of them existed. Yes, Lena responded in a whisper that was amplified by the microphone she still held. Yes, I will. The ovation was deafening as Alexander slipped the ring onto her finger and stood to kiss her. Among the crowd, Lily applauded enthusiastically alongside Teresa and Eleanor, complicit in this reconciliation. Later that night, on the hotel terrace, away from the hustle and bustle of the celebration, Alexander and Lena gazed at the city lights. I still can't believe you planned all this, she said, admiring the ring on her finger. It had to be spectacular, he smiled. Worthy of the story that began that night. Our story is just beginning, Lena responded, resting her head on his shoulder. Down in the ballroom, Lily was explaining to anyone who would listen how she had kept the secret for weeks, how she had helped Teresa with the preparations, how her heart now beat perfectly to the rhythm of a new life that was about to begin. 5 years later, a legacy of love. 5 years had passed since that magical night at the Claridge Hotel. The garden of the Thorne Maxwell home in Richmond was illuminated with small colored lights to celebrate Lily's 14th birthday. The scent of blooming roses mingled with the aroma of traditional English pastries, which the family loved. Mummy, Daddy, the twins are playing with the cake, Lily shouted, running towards her parents, who were chatting with guests. Lena and Alexander exchanged amused glances before going to rescue the cake from the curious little hands of Matthew and Eleanor, their 4-year-old twins. I've got this, Alexander said, scooping up both children who laughed mischievously. Now, you little rascals, what have I told you about spoiling surprises? Not to do it, Eleanor responded with a smile that showed the same dimple as her father. Unless it's really fun, Matthew completed, provoking laughter from everyone. Lena watched her family, her heart overflowing. Her life had changed so much that sometimes it felt like a dream. Braveheart had become an internationally recognized brand with boutiques in London, Paris, and New York. Her clothing line emphasized ethical and sustainable fashion, primarily employing single mothers who needed flexible hours. Alexander, for his part, had transformed Thorne Industries into a company with genuine social responsibility. The Brave Hearts Foundation had funded surgeries for over 100 children with heart problems, in addition to promoting medical research in pediatric cardiology. Earth to Lena, Teresa teased, approaching with a glass of champagne. As director of the foundation and Lena's partner in the children's line, Little Hearts, she had become a sister to her. Sorry, I was just thinking about everything that's happened. Lena smiled. Any regrets? Teresa asked. Not for a second, Lena replied, watching Alexander play with the twins while Lily proudly showed her fashion designs to the guests. The teenager had inherited her mother's creative talent and Alexander's entrepreneurial spirit. She was already talking about studying fashion design in Paris or New York, something her parents fully supported. The graduates are here, Lily announced excitedly. Through the garden gate entered 3 young designers, the first graduates of the Lena Maxwell Scholarship Program. Their collections would debut the following month at London Fashion Week, with the backing of Braveheart. Lena, Alexander, greeted Sarah Davies, Eleanor's daughter and now director of the scholarship program. I have incredible news. Maria's collection was selected to exhibit in Paris. Applause and congratulations quickly followed. Maria, A young woman who had started sewing clothes in a small family workshop, was now following the path Lena had blazed years ago. As dusk settled, everyone gathered around the large garden table. Chloe, who remained Lena's best friend and was now Eleanor's godmother, arrived with her husband and joined the celebration. "I propose a toast," she said, raising her glass, to Lena, who was not the same after a night with a millionaire, but became even more extraordinary. Laughter and cheers echoed as everyone raised their glasses. Alexander sought Lena's hand under the table and intertwined his fingers with hers. "Do you know what day it is today, besides Lily's birthday?" he asked softly. Lena smiled. "Exactly 6 years since I walked into Eleanor's office, desperate and unaware that my life was about to change forever. Sometimes the best stories begin with the most difficult decisions," Alexander replied, gently kissing her hand. As the guests began to leave, the family stayed, contemplating the stars from the garden. The twins were already asleep in their parents' arms while Lily played with Max, the dog Alexander had given her on her 10th birthday. "Sometimes I still wonder," Lena commented, "how my life would have been if I hadn't agreed to go to that gala. Destiny has mysterious ways of bringing people together," Alexander responded. "If it hadn't been that night, it would have been another. We were destined to meet." "Do you believe in destiny now, Mr. Rational Businessman?" she teased. "I believe in us," he replied simply. "In what we built from an imperfect beginning." Lily approached and sat beside them. Despite entering adolescence, she still enjoyed these family moments. "Do you know what the best part of our story is?" the young woman asked. "That it never ends. It keeps writing itself every day." Lena gazed at her family under the colored lights of the garden. The fragile girl she once feared losing had become a strong, confident teenager. The cold, calculating man she met was now a loving father and devoted husband. And she herself, the desperate woman who once agreed to spend a night with a millionaire, had found not only financial security but her true voice and purpose. "The bravest thing I ever did," Lena whispered to Alexander as they watched Lily run after the dog, "wasn't accepting to go to that gala or facing the fashion world. It was trusting that I deserved to be happy." Alexander embraced her, inhaling the familiar scent of her hair. "And the smartest thing I did was not letting you go when I had the chance to get you back." Under the starry London sky, the family that had formed against all odds celebrated not only a birthday but the courage of two hearts that dared to believe in second chances. "I needed you for one night," Lena murmured, remembering those early days. "But I want you for a lifetime. And I needed you without knowing it," Alexander responded, "to save me from myself." The night breeze gently swayed the garden lights as they closed another day of a life that, as Lily had said, kept writing itself. A story that had begun with need and desperation but had transformed into the most beautiful testament that sometimes, happy endings aren't just fairy tales. They were possible, they were real. They were there, breathing under the stars, in the form of a family that had learned that true wealth lay in the beats of their brave hearts. What do you think of this transformation? Do you believe in second chances? Let us know in the comments below. And if you loved this story, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring tales.